Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Malibu Pacific Church podcast here at Malibu Pacific Church. Hey, if you haven't listened to this last week's sermon, please press pause now and go listen to that sermon so this podcast makes a little more sense. But again, like we always say, we're not going to tell you how to live. We're just going to suggest some things. Hey, it's me, Joel.
How you doing, everybody?
It's Andy, everybody.
Good to be here.
Pastor Andy. Do you like that title? Do you feel
No,
reverent?
just call me Andy.
Just
I'm
call Andy?
I'm Andy. Yeah, that's me.
That's so funny.
I don't need a title. Thank you.
I had a conversation with somebody on the patio this past Sunday, which was a huge hit. I mean,
It was a great day.
We'll talk about that after this little thing.
Yeah.
But somebody was like, so does he go by Pastor Andy? Because I feel like that's just the respectful thing to do. And I looked at them and was like, you know what? 99% of the time, he's just, call me Andy. Very rarely,
Well, and I've moved in that direction. I appreciate the respect. I really do.
Yeah.
But, we're a church for everybody, unchurched people, and the title doesn't mean anything to unchurched people. And so
Yes,
I want to be your friend.
Yeah.
Let's just talk.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, it's off-putting to a lot of people who are unchurched.
Mm-hmm.
So I've for the most part, taken the title out. I appreciate it. I think it's good to have a respect in a sense for the office, and I'm not president or anything like that, but I believe it is important to have some respect for certain positions in the church and leadership positions. Yeah. But the moment we use it to have leverage over people, I don't think that's healthy. Yeah. But secondly, my heart is for missions, for the unchurched, for those who don't attend church. Mm-hmm. And if there's something that's a barrier in their way of connecting with them, I want to take the barrier out.
That's awesome. That was a very similar answer that I gave to that person because I was jokingly saying that it works on this campus for some people. For the newcomer, it doesn't necessarily. But once you go out off of this campus, most people, when you say, hey, I work at a church, they go, and there's one of two things.
Yeah, I'm out. Yeah, I don't want to talk to you.
I don't want to talk to you. That's number one. Or number two is they start confessing all their sins and how long it's been since they've gone to church.
Right. Because behind that is, you're going to judge me. So I might as well tell you all my sins. Yeah.
It's been 16 years. I haven't
been to church.
Yeah, all these things. And I'm like, well,
right.
I was like, when you find out, I told the story, when people find out I work at a church, it actually is like a little more uplifting because it wasn't the first thing that I said. It was let me show you the actions and love before I even use any type of title or saying that I work at a church.
Yeah.
Right?
That's good.
So it's good. All right. So, hey, it was session 4 of How to Be Happy, which is wild.
I know. 5 more to go.
We're almost halfway through, but this last
week long one
was. But you know what? It takes 9 weeks to learn how to be happy.
There's so many angles, so many directions we could take.
And there's so many ways to not be happy in this world. So let's get the foundation and know the foundation.
That's good.
Right? So, and I think one of the things that brought a lot of joy and a lot of happiness was the back to school bash. And just want to mention how awesome that was. If you were here on site during that time, we had close to 300 people here, which is a huge celebration. But I think one of the things that people are longing for and really connects with the sermon series is that people are looking for community.
Yeah.
And I think that's been one of your biggest pushes. I mean, ever since you started here at Malibu Pacific Church.
Yeah, we're going to spend a couple weeks talking more about it because Harvard has done an 85-year-old study tracking people. Mm-hmm. I won't give you the whole thing. You got to come to church on this coming week, but we can talk about it next week. Mm-hmm. But they have discovered that happiness is a result of how healthy your relationships are, not your fame and not your success.
Yeah.
So 85 years, millions of dollars. Yeah. We found out that the Bible, after all, was true.
Hey, all right. Finally, Harvard proved it right.
Thank you, Harvard. Harvard is becoming Christian. What?
That means they'll lose funding.
Yeah, they're going to lose all their funding. But anyway, it's all about community, and that's what we've been working on.
Yeah.
And so you don't want to miss this week.
Absolutely. So now people are into session 4 of How to Be Happy.
Yeah, but what we've been talking about is community with God. So
Absolutely.
happy people are at peace with God,
Yeah.
peace with others, which we'll spend a couple weeks on, and peace with themselves and finding their purpose. So, so that's right. We've been spending a couple weeks on peace with God.
Absolutely. Do you think people are hearing the saying again and again? You're like, happiness is not
A who?
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, it's not a what.
It's not a what. It's a
not
who.
a what. It's a who.
Yeah, happiness is dependent on a who, not a what. That's
Yes.
right.
And
There
so
we got it.
We got it. See, it's resonating. But I feel like obviously that's the common denominator and the common speak that you've been giving out to everybody during this entire thing. I feel like that has been like the big talk on the patio, just walking around and people are talking about.
Right.
I kid you not. They're like asking the things like what has made me happy versus the who that's supposed to make me happy, you know? So have you had any of those conversations, you know, have you had any of those, you know, types of things on the patio that people just come up and, you know, not to share like intimate things, but do you feel like it's resonating in that regard?
I think so. Even on Sunday had one conversation in particular that somebody grew up in church, and they simply said, we thought it was a what, not so much in pursuing stuff, but religion. And I didn't realize that, you know, in having a relationship with Jesus, it's not just Jesus forgives me of my sins, now I need to perform.
Yes.
But it's all about grace, and I am adopted into the family of God, and he calls me his child. And now my response to God is Abba, Father, or Daddy. It's incredibly personal. And this person was like, man, I always thought it was what I needed to do, not the who God is and his character, that he's filled with compassion. He loves me and calls me his child.
Absolutely.
And he loves me no matter what. So that was having really some major theological clarification, understanding of the character of God. I think we've done people a disservice in the church, that church has gotten in the way of people's relationship with God. Yeah. So we're saved by grace, but then we tell everybody you need to perform your way into God's good graces. No, we're still living by grace.
Absolutely.
And so it seems to be also, I wasn't expecting this, is changing people's mindset or their theology or their understanding, interpretation. That's what theology is, of who God is.
Yes.
And the relationship that God wants, it's a who, not a what.
Definitely. Well, we all want to know who planted the seed in you to make a church of 1,000, because we want to roundhouse kick that person.
Well, you had to be here to hear that. Confess a little bit of sin. My own pride.
That was. I gotta be honest, man. That the landing of this sermon. I shared it earlier with you, but I'm just gonna say it was one of the most powerful moments, because it was you sitting there just bare, just saying, hey, he wasn't naked. I'm not saying that. Sorry.
You don't want that. You don't.
He had his shirt on. There's been a couple times.
It is Malibu, though. It is Malibu. It is,
you know, we got
anything can happen around here. Trust me.
Right?
Just walk around downtown. You'll see anything. I was actually on the beach. I took a bike ride after church on Sunday afternoon to watch the waves and the surfers. I like going down to First Point, which is near our pier. And then I went down there, and there was a couple, and they were obviously tourists.
Yeah.
You could tell.
Yeah.
And a guy walked by us, and he was very much out of his mind, talking to himself.
Yeah.
And this couple, they just looked really nervous. I was standing there on the fence looking at the surfers, and they got really nervous because homeless guy talking to himself out loud, probably schizophrenic or something, or maybe he was just on something. We don't know.
Yeah.
Seemed happy though, and they seemed a little taken back. And I just looked at him and I says, don't worry about him. He's okay. He's been that way for years. He's happy. He's going to be all right. They laughed.
Yeah.
Just kind of eased it up. So anyway, I don't know why I brought that up, but anything can happen. It's Malibu. Anything can happen in Malibu. And he had his shirt off and he's talking to himself.
Yeah.
Out loud.
So that's
whatever.
Forgot. No, I remember what we were talking about. Sorry. Ending of the sermon. There we go. And you're sitting there and you're really sharing about the growing a church to 1,000.
Yeah.
And that was where you're going to find your I don't know. It almost seemed like your everything was like almost to that, even though you had, you have an amazing family, you have an amazing wife, life, all these kinds of things. But there was something that was pitted inside of like, I don't know. I don't know what word to put there,
well, the deepest root of that is you need to perform. That's why I so identified with this conversation on Sunday with this person who said you need to do something, or what is it that I need to perform in order to get God's good graces. So that was embedded in me.
Yeah.
And there's a little clue from the week before that I am actually the older son in the prodigal story. Yes. That I did everything right. So that's why I've earned my way into a relationship with you. So that was already embedded in me. For nobody's fault, we're either the prodigal son or we're the good son. Jesus is describing all people fall into one of these camps.
Yeah.
So by the time I got to seminary, the context is it was at the time that Willow Creek was blowing up. Several other churches, for you also, was Saddleback Church.
Yes.
It became that it started to pop up churches of 1,000, and that became a big deal.
Definitely.
In the early 90s, mid 90s, even to the late 90s and so on. So the church of the 90s was, and for us pastors and then going to school, they started to have classes on church growth, evangelism. There were a lot of added classes on how to grow a church. Fuller Theological Seminary also started I forgot the institute right now. I have to remember that.
Fuller Youth Institute?
It wasn't the Youth Institute, but even before that, on church growth.
Okay.
So the church growth movement really kicked into high gear. So when I'm 24 years old, going to seminary, what was going on in culture, and then also newer classes, and then add that to my own brokenness, that I will be okay if I grow a church to 1,000. You've made it. That was kind of really the messaging that was going on in the 90s as well. That church is all about church growth. And here's the 7 steps to grow a church. And if you grow a church to 1,000, you're a great leader. You've made it. God looks down on you and says, well done.
Well done. You
well done.
Gold star.
You get the gold star because you grew a church to 1,000. So my brokenness started in that whole situation when I started hearing some people and key volunteers in the church up in Santa Rosa saying, I feel like you're just using us to grow the church.
Oh.
Yeah. I don't feel like you love us for who we are. Oh. I was like, no, I do.
Yeah.
So then after that, had some counseling, and I dealt with it. And my counselor was really good, Denise, if you're listening. She was really good. She said, you know what? Half of that is from your brokenness. Half of that is really coming from what God's put on your heart. You actually really want to help people find Jesus. I mean, it's coming from a very good place. So let's separate those two. Let's heal this brokenness, but keep your passion for the reason why you want to grow a church is because you want people to find Jesus. And Jesus said, I will build my church. Go into all, I take the Great Commission very seriously, go into all the world and make disciples.
Absolutely.
So, and I'm a missionary kid, and I'm a missionary at heart, and my number one spiritual gift is evangelism. I actually want people to find Jesus. I think it's kind of important. We spend eternity somewhere. Ooh. So that's coming from a very good place, but there was a piece of me that if I perform, then I'm almost embarrassed to say this, but even at that time, going to purpose-driven church and I read the book, and I was there at those first conferences. If Rick Warren would just come up to me and say, well done, I I'm complete.
Yeah.
So I even used him as a father figure in a way to give a blessing. Because every man wants an older man to say, you have what it takes. So that was really the source of the brokenness. I didn't share all that on Sunday. So we're all looking for somebody to say to us, you have what it takes.
Yeah.
Or Galatians 4 that we talked about this week, you are my son, you're my daughter, you're my child. It's not based on what you do. It's based on what Jesus did on the cross. I've adopted you into my family, not based on what you've done, but because of what I did for you.
Yeah.
So that passage is actually very important to me because that reminds me of my relationship with God, and I'm adopted into the family, and because of what Jesus did on the cross, not based on something that I've done.
Yeah.
So the broken piece is my sin nature, looking for, which is not bad. All men are looking for somebody to say to them, you have what it takes.
Yeah.
And all women are yearning to hear an older woman say to them, you are beautiful. And even their dads, I think that's why I won't get into this, but the father-daughter dance is so important, is because the dads are with their daughters.
Yeah.
Basically communicating, I love you, honey. Yeah. You're my daughter.
You're so beautiful.
You're beautiful. Even that's been some of our themes.
We're going on a date, just the two of us, because you matter.
You matter to me, and you're beautiful. Every daughter needs to hear that from their dad. So anyway, that's where it came from. And I shared just a piece of that on Sunday. If you didn't listen to it, just
but I feel like that was one of those the recognition of the entire series, because it helped, I think, the congregation, because so many people were there, that it just gave this superhuman moment, which was awesome. Not like making you a superhuman, but like a super, just regular human moment.
I am
you are,
human.
and exactly. But even talking at the beginning with the pastoral, title and all those kinds of things, I think that it just really helps people resonate that, even pastors are human too.
Yeah.
And so I think one of the things that I would love to ask is that, okay, you hit the 1,000. You did in Santa Rosa, right? You hit the 1,000. Did your mind go, now 2,000, 5,000, 10,000? Or was it, I'm going to hang up my robe?
It was just like somebody who says, we hit the Fortune 500, you hear about successful business people, if we win the Super Bowl. I just finished watching. I encourage everybody to watch the Dallas Cowboys, or it's the Dallas Cowboys, but it's their story, their history from Jerry Jones, Jimmy Johnson, the first coach.
Yeah.
And the whole history of Jerry purchasing the team.
With the oil mine and all.
Yeah. He sold everything.
And rolled the dice.
Rolled the dice. And I think that's
$100 million.
Yeah. Exactly.
So great.
I think that's the title.
Yeah.
They won the first Super Bowl. They went from 1-15, and in 4 years they won the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
they put together a team with Michael Irvin, Emmitt Smith, and Troy Aikman. The Golden Three.
Yep.
And then you have the best coach in the country, owner, and the top three. They win the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
They were all empty. All of them. And Jerry Jones, and that's when they split. Jerry Jones and Jimmy Johnson said, is this it?
Now what?
And now what?
Yeah.
And their egos took over. I did this. No, I did this. I'm the one that built it. I'm the one that spent $100 million. No, I'm the one that coached these guys. And they had this huge ego clash. Took 30 years for them to mend their relationship. Ooh. So here they reached the pinnacle thinking this will make us happy.
Yep.
And they were still empty. I felt that same way, not to that level, but it's like, that's it. Right. Okay, is it 2,000? Is it 3,000? I think that's why we're doing this series. If you're chasing a what, the problem wasn't the what. We can have 10,000 church and still be empty.
Yeah.
It's a who. And so at peace with myself. So that, there was a now what.
Yeah.
That's right.
Now what? So you hit that 1,000 and now what,
Now what?
And I loved that there was the humility and everything too. Great sermon. The entire thing when you're talking about the different numbers of people's, annual incomes and things like that too. Like everything, scriptures were great. All those things. It's just that final moment. I think that it was like, wow, you can reach what you're really trying to do, but when it comes down to it, it's not a what.
Yep.
Right. It's a who.
It's a who.
Yeah.
It's a who. So happy people are at peace with God. Happy people are at peace with others. And happy people are at peace with themselves. Because whether you're successful or not, you're at peace. And people at peace are happy. So the circumstances don't dictate my happiness.
Mm-hmm.
I'm at peace with myself. Well, how do we do that? Because we're at peace with God. I mean, when Jesus... what is the greatest commandment? And when they asked Jesus that, and he said in Matthew 22, to love God with all your heart, mind, soul, and strength, and love your neighbor as yourself. So love God, love your neighbor, and love yourself.
Yep.
So when there's peace in all those three areas, it's not about circumstances. Yep. And because Solomon said in Proverbs, there's a time for everything. There's a time for good, there's a time for bad, time for mourning, time for joy, time for... different seasons in life.
Yeah.
So my happiness is not dependent on a what or how much or gaining or prestige or income or whatever, because those will come and they will go. My happiness is dependent on who I am in relationship to my Creator, my Heavenly Father.
Amen. Yeah. Well, we're going to be going into session number 5 this Sunday. We have services at 10 a.m. on site and online, and we want to see you there, either in the chat room or on site in the seat. And it's going to be a beautiful Sunday once again, because let's be honest, it's Malibu. Shirts are not, no, shirts are required. Okay.
I don't know.
No, shirts are required.
I've been walking around town. I don't think so. And you're allowed to talk to yourself out loud.
There you go. Welcome to Malibu, everybody. So with that said, if you haven't hit the subscribe button, please hit the subscribe button. Share this podcast with somebody. More important, share the sermon with somebody who needs to hear it. Somebody struggling with finding their happiness in life. Give them sermon number 1. Start from there. Invite them to number 5 this week. It's going to be a good time, I promise. We won't let you down. With that said, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in to the Malibu Pacific Church podcast, and we'll have a new episode next week. Bye, everybody.